Hey, it is time to huddle up. Bob Slovak here with the Consummate Pro. He's Jason Alexander. Jason, how you doing, my man?
Only perfect, Bob. We got COVID behind us. My knee's feeling better. Ready to huddle up with all the fans here today. Playoffs coming up.
And I'm wearing my Big Ben beard just for another week. I'm going to run the marathon, half marathon on Sunday, so I got a little face covering in case it's cold.
We're all praying for you, Bob. Hopefully that hammy holds in there okay.
Man, that is the big deal. That's the big deal. Hey, last week, the pros picks, you went undefeated.
We got back in Grandma's closet, got the old broom out of there. 5-0. We're 10-1 the last 2 weeks, heating up for playoff season.
I'm telling you, man, you hit on all of them. I was worried about the Cowboys covering. They blew out the JV of the Eagles, and then you had Georgia.
Well, Bulldogs, they took a little bit. They had to get warmed up in the second half. Thank goodness Alabama kicked all those field goals, but the Bulldogs with the cover on Monday night, national champions.
First time national champs since 1980. Congratulations to them. All right, hey, let's talk about some headlines right now. Texans into the offseason now. We got Mark Vandemere, the voice of the Texans, coming up. We're going to talk about a lot of things, and we started with David Culley. They're still milling that over. I think they ought to just bring him back one more season.
I think they should too, but the reports I'm saying just doesn't look very comfortable. But we'll see what we do with Deshaun. I think it goes hand in hand. If we do get some picks for Deshaun, especially in the first round, maybe we bring in the new coach of the future. So we'll see what the Texans do. A lot coming up for the franchise.
When Miami surprisingly fired Brian Flores, that's when it all kind of started rolling. They're like, hey, well, maybe we should bring him in. You know, we'll see. I don't know.
I like Flores.
Yeah, yeah, he's a good coach, especially if they can get some picks, as you said.
Absolutely.
Because depends if Deshaun Watson has the no trade clause in there, but the Giants are going to change. They fired their head coach, so they're going to have a new head coach. They could come in. They got two first round picks in the top 10. They got a fifth and the seventh.
Deshaun and the Big Apple. You put in the marketing piece. Look, if I were Deshaun, I think he might have an opportunity to waive that no trade clause to go to the Big Apple, play football for the Giants. I think it could be huge.
I think it could be, too. So we'll see how that plays out down the road. Hey, you went to the Rockets game on Sunday. They're now 11 and 31, I believe.
We didn't get to number 12 on Sunday.
No,
it's tough when you allow 160 points to win against the old T-Wolves. But, ran into Davis Mills, Calvin Murphy. John Granado had a big time. But talked to Davis Mills for about 30 minutes after the game. Wonderful conversation. What a great young man. I'm looking forward to seeing what Vandemere has to say and see if we can bring him back for a little encore in 2022.
I will tell you this about the Rockets. You mentioned not playing any defense. Their last 5 games, they've trailed by more than 25 points. A lot of that's early, too. It's like, what are you doing?
Silas has to have a prerequisite. To get minutes, you got to play defense. We had some great seats on Sunday night, and I'll tell you this, just watching, they were way more concerned with showboating and flashing on the offensive end. They've got to get it together and have a little defensive intensity moving forward, or this over 26 is not going to be good, Bob.
No, you're not going to get there. The trade deadline coming up February 10th. We'll keep an eye on Eric Gordon. He seems to be the asset that they could move. We'll see what happens there. So, Rockets, we're recording this on a Wednesday. They're at the Spurs coming up.
Winnable game. We got 2 against the Spurs, 2 against Sacramento and Portland to finish out the month. 5 winnable games. I'll take 2.
Yes, you will. All right, we'll be back with Mark Vandemere, the voice of the Houston Texans, when we come back. You don't want to miss what Mark has to say. It's always a good time. More Huddle Up when we come back.
All right, team, your favorite pro here. Now, look, we all know our Huddle Up fans now. We like our cars, but we also want a hometown discount, too. And lucky for us, all we need to do is make a short drive up I-45 North to Cowboy Kia, and lucky for us today,
here out there, Webb. There's Jason with Huddle Up.
We've got Mark Compton and Mark Webb here with us to tell a little bit more about Cowboy Kia.
Welcome. Hey, this is Mark Compton at Cowboy Kia. I got a few things for you. They need to come in, bring a friend, shake a hand, make a deal, but I got $500 off for Huddle Up.
Huddle Up.
Huddle Up. Huddle Up. Jason Alexander, $500 off. Black Tie Service, Blue Jean Friendly.
That a baby. Now, look, we've got the best in used and new cars here at Cowboy Kia.
Cowboy, baby.
Mark Webb's going to give you 2 free college football winners. Mark Compton's going to give you the best deal in town. Come visit him today.
All right, welcome back to Huddle Up. Joining us now, Mark Vandemere, the voice of the Houston Texans. Mark, how you doing today, bud?
Gentlemen, couldn't be better. Everything's great, I think. I hope.
That's a good way to put it, because we don't know. We don't know. Give me your thoughts on what we just went through with the Houston Texans this season.
Well, look, it's a frustrating season. Nobody wants a losing record. You know, the team has not had back-to-back losing records since the 05-06 campaigns. It's been 15 years, and, people say what they say about this team, and this team's used to a lot of winning lately, a lot more winning than losing, but 2020 losing season, 2021 4-win season. But with all the changes they had, I think down the stretch you saw what they were working on. They were working on developing these young players, the quarterback, young wide receiver, rookie, young tight end, rookie. So the rookie class and last year's, the 2020 draft class, started to perform well as the season went on. And I think that's promising for the future. You're building blocks here, and this was one of them. Let's hope they can continue.
The big elephant in the room, is Coach Cully going to be back? Just your gut feeling?
Well, look, I mean, they say they're evaluating and everything, and he just got through year one. I'm not sure what they're going to do, honestly, guys. I mean, they're not very far from where I'm sitting right now, and meetings and coaches, and I see all the guys, and I'm not like, hey, what's going on? Let them sort out their business so they can do what's right for the team. But I think this is one of the more exciting off seasons you're ever going to see, because regardless of the question you just asked. I mean, we could have a huge amount of draft choices if a certain trade is made. Already have a first and second for the first time since 2019.
Right.
This is going to be big for this squad to be able to draft this way and continue to build for the future.
Well, Vandemere, I know one of the big narratives going on right now, obviously, is Davis Mills going to get another shot next year. And I've talked to a few people about this. What I don't understand, if his name's Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, or Justin Fields, this isn't even a conversation. What I don't get, and what he proved over the second half of the season with, we'd have to all say, a limited offensive firepower. I love Nico Collins, Brevin Jordan, but limited offensive firepower. I thought he looked awfully good, and this shouldn't even – I think it's a done deal going into next year. What do you think?
Well, a lot of factors involved, and you bring up a great point. If you draft a quarterback in the first round, I mean, that's an arranged marriage. You signed up for that. And it's going to be interesting because if you got a first-round guy, you have to go with him, right? I mean, you just have to. I look at the 49ers with Garoppolo and Trey Lance, and, we saw Trey Lance. He looked pretty good, but they went right back to Garoppolo, won a big game at the end of the year for them. But what are they going to do? They're kind of married to Trey Lance now. So I think the Texans are in a really good spot. They're not forced to start Davis Mills, but he looks pretty good. And you bring up a great point. They weren't able to run the football the way they needed to, not even close. If they had an average running game, what would Mills have done then? What would Taylor have done then? So they'll continue to build in all sorts of areas to get better.
Hey, Vandy, I heard that Davis Mills in that last game, that he was checking off a lot in the second half. Did you see that?
Well, yeah, he's been doing that down the stretch here. Since he got back in the lineup, I love how this thing actually played out. I didn't like it at first, all right? I didn't want Taylor to get hurt against Cleveland. Nobody did, because they were going good at the time. They were tied at 14. Let's see if they can play well. When he came back, he just wasn't right. He just didn't play as well as he normally does. And then they go back to Mills, and the second appearance by Mills, the second stretch of games, was so much better because he had played. Then he gets a chance to watch a little bit more. Then he gets to play again, and I think you saw the improvement. He hasn't played much football, guys. No. I mean, in college, last year was a half season for Stanford. He just didn't have that many reps in college. People want to compare him to whoever, but very limited exposure. Now you suffered through a losing season, but at least he got to play going into year 2 for him.
And I'll be honest with you, MV, after the Buffalo game, no chance he was the answer at quarterback for the future of the Houston Texans. But like you said, after he got a little bit of a timeout, that second act by Davis Mills, I thought he threw the ball down the field wonderfully. And like I said, I thought he looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket and managing the game. So I think he deserves just one more crack at it next year. We'll see.
They've always liked his brain, because he got here in the offseason, and Taylor was unavailable for a couple of early OTA practices for whatever reason. I can't even remember why. But Mills had to handle them because he was the only quarterback around, really. And he handled them great. He knew the offense. But the thing is the quickness, the decision-making, the reaction time, that takes time to really develop on an NFL level. And he took great steps in that department, checking out of plays, like you said. So let's see what happens for the encore presentation in 2022.
He is a Stanford guy, so we know he is smart. All right, hey, Vandy, your job in the preseason never gets easy, and it's going to be even more difficult next year. You got 33 players whose contracts expired, 30 on one-year contracts. There's going to be a ton of turnover again. We're going to see a lot of new faces again.
I'll tell you what, in the spring, it was unbelievable because I went out there with a roster and I felt like I was at a joint practice where I'm getting to know the other team, right? But it was our team. And so many new names, so many new guys, and then training camp. I mean, I was really grinding during those practices just to do what I do. Nobody cares, but it's a luxury problem. I love what I do. And I got to know these new players. One thing that was fun about it was you get to know these new players, right? I didn't know all these stories about them and diving deep. And Johnny Harris and I getting to interview all these guys right before camp. We did about 25 different interviews. We played a lot of those on Texans radio. And then throughout the season, getting to know the players better. It was a lot of fun. And I'm getting ready. Buckle up because you're going to get another 30 guys in here or whatever it's going to be. So I'm here for it.
You know what? That takes me back to what you're saying about trying to learn the players. It takes me back to John McClain from the Chronicle going just bonkers when they didn't have the numbers on the roster.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That was so funny.
Well, you know what? I have
The
a
general.
secret weapon. His name is John Harris, and we were standing there with Cal McNair and going over, and Johnny already had filled out his own roster. He just knew everybody. Yeah. I mean, the guy's a savant, I mean, you could do the draft with him. We do 16 hours of draft coverage with John Harris. He doesn't even look anything up. A guy's getting drafted in the 6th round out of whatever state. He's like, oh, yeah, that kid, blah, blah, blah. He knows everything. So he's fun to work with.
All right, let's hear some playoff predictions from Mark Vandemere. What do you see happening moving through the playoffs here over the next month?
Jeez, it's tough, isn't it? How do the Packers not get out of Lambeau into the Super Bowl? When they weren't able to do it a couple of years ago, they couldn't do it last year. Are they going to be able to do it this year? They're a safe pick, the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, in the AFC, I don't trust the Titans. And look, you guys know how I feel. It's healthy sports hate that I have for the Titans and for the Colts. And I hate the Titans like poison. There was nothing more than I wanted. Like, I didn't care about the 3rd pick in the draft on Sunday. I wanted the Texans to knock the Titans off that perch for the top seed. I think they're going to have a difficult time getting through. And in the AFC, it's hard for me to go against Kansas City. I think the cream rises to the top, and that's what they are. I'm intrigued about the Bengals. They got a lot of things to work with. Are they going to be able to rise to the moment? Because everything changes in the playoffs.
Certainly does.
Well, Bob knows we've been going through a Huddle Up show here all season. I've been against Kansas City all year.
He said they weren't going to make the
They're
playoffs.
They're pretenders. And, of course, I was wrong. And, they just hadn't looked as dominant as they have the last couple of years.
I don't know about that.
But
I don't root for them. Like, I hate everybody except the Texans. But, in these playoffs, I kind of like that Ben is in there for one final
I love
run.
that.
Okay?
See this.
And
I got the Big Ben beard going for Ben. Come on.
I'm kind of pulling for him, and I'm definitely pulling for Derek Carr. I'm not a Raider guy at all, but I like Derek.
we
He
like
played at Clements, and he's brother of David, obviously. So I'm pulling for Derek Carr. And in the NFC, I just want total mayhem. As long as Dallas loses, I'll be okay.
That's funny that you say that because, of course, I grew up in Dallas. I have a ton of Cowboy friends, and they're all buying in. I'm like, well, wait a minute. They're going to have to beat the 49ers. Then they're going to have to beat Tom Brady and the Bucks, and then they're going to have to win in Lambeau. I go, I don't see that happening.
it's going to be
It was funny. Like, last year, I was down with Brady, like, for the first time in my life. Like, I've never rooted for him. Patriots, I hate them like poison. But with the Buccaneers, I was like, as in the NFC, he's the old guy now. I'm old, he's old. You kind of pull for the old guy. But this year, I'm like, I'm kind of done with it. I think you're good now, and you can lose. So I'm pulling for anybody but him.
It was good for a year, but I am intrigued, obviously. I think Cincinnati's the wild card. Coming out of the AFC with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Mixon, T. Higgins. I think they might do a little something special here. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's hard to trust anybody in the playoffs. Like, you look at the Rams. I don't trust them.
No.
I don't trust Matthew Stafford. He turns the ball over, and, God bless them. The 49ers are intriguing. Like, we were just out there a couple of weeks ago. Andre and I look at them warming up, and we're like, they got a ton of talent, man. That team is loaded with talent. They've kind of underperformed. I think the quarterback situation being what it is, injuries, COVID, everybody's been messed up by it. So I'm eager to see what they do. But, it's fun. The NFL playoffs are great. And the way they're doing it this year with 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, I think that's it. And they have the Monday night game for the first time.
Yep.
It's crazy. The NFL rules the world.
It's going to be
golf.
fun. Yeah, except for golf. Hey, real quick, because we got to touch on this, and we'll revisit this down the road. But with all the coaching changes, Deshaun Watson's still out there. He's got some issues to fix up. But, man, you got the Giants are looking for a new head coach. They got all those first-round draft picks. I mean, there's so many possibilities now the Texans have an opportunity to look at right now.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it gets done,
Yeah.
because there's so many factors involved, like you said. And, like there's a gigantic piece of the legal issues, right? And the very serious nature of that. But from a pure football standpoint, there's still a no trade clause, right? So he's got some control over this, a lot of control, actually. And you just want to make sure that the right thing is done for everybody. I mean, I know this organization needs to move on, and you need it to happen before the draft, because if you have to wait another year, oh my gosh. Not to say a trade couldn't take place afterwards, but then you got to wait another year for the picks.
I was just thinking about that. I go, isn't he due like $30 million next year?
Well, the price goes up, right? Yeah. And you'd hate to have to do next year what you did this year. I don't think that's going to happen. But again, I didn't think this year was going to happen. I don't know. Like when it happens, my alarm clock will go off and I'll deal with it. And I'm just rooting for it to happen ASAP.
Awesome. You got any more?
Well, hey, we're going to play any golf coming up here, MV. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm starting to get out there a little bit. Okay. I got one of those heavy drivers, those heavy trainers.
Sure.
You guys tell me. I mean, Jason, that's really good, right? That's kind of good for the swing, getting in the groove.
I'm telling you what, building all those golf muscles after calling football all year. We're going to need that going into the spring here, Vandemere. Absolutely. I'm buying in.
I love it.
It's a mental game. It's a mental game.
Definitely. What did they say? 50% mental and
it's probably 95% mental, I'm telling you.
All right, Vandy, man, thanks for joining us here on Huddle Up. We always love it.
Can I get one good rock and roll Texans touchdown since we're not going to hear it for a while?
I'm in my office. Rock and roll touchdown.
Yeah, baby.
We got it. All right, Mark, you be safe, man. Thanks for joining us here, man. We'll catch up with you again.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, great stuff from Mark Vandemere, the voice of the Texans. Hey, we're going to be back with more Huddle Up right after this. We've got the pros picks.
Woo,
He's riding a heater. We'll be right back.
All right, team, your favorite pro here reporting live from the club. Now, look, in order to hit a pure golf shot, we have to do three things. We have to assess, strategize, and execute. And I'm going to tell you, the same three things apply if you're in the market for a loan. Woo! And after absolutely piping one, lucky for us, we have Jake Snortland here to tell us more about it.
Thanks, Jason. That is correct. Here at Triumph Lending, we assess, strategize, and execute in getting our borrowers the best deals possible. So feel free to give me a call. My number is 832-639-1455. And no matter if you're looking to purchase a home or refinance your current mortgage, I can get you the best deal out there today.
That's the golden trifecta for Triumph Lending. Give him a call today.
All right, back here on Huddle Up for Pros Picks. He's the pro, and he's going to make the picks.
Oh, Bob. Hey, I know you're a little hot sitting next to the consummate pro right now because we have been steamy, no doubt about it. 10-1 in the last 2 weeks, and we got 6 lightning picks coming up for Wild Card Weekend.
I just hope the millions and millions of fans of Huddle Up are listening to you to make some money.
I hope so, too.
All right, 6 big Wild Card games coming up. We got 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday night. All right, we'll start with the Bengals and the Raiders. Bengals getting 6 points, and you like Cincy.
Well, Cincy's given 6, and right now, as of today, it went down to 5. It's going to be around 5 to 6 points, and this is going to be, look, across the board moving forward for this weekend, we're taking the best quarterbacks, we're taking a lot of home teams, and we're laying a bunch of chalk, which I never do. I always play the underdogs.
Yeah.
But we're going to buck the trend this weekend. I like Joe Burrow. I think Cincy has a chance to show off and do something special coming out of the AFC. Look out for them to upset Kansas City and go all the way to the Super Bowl. Vegas, hey, you heard it here first. Vegas simply doesn't have the roster. I'm not sold on them. When Hunter Renfrow is your best wide receiver, you just can't compete with Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and smoking Joe Burrow. Since he wins by 10-13, they're going to cover the 5 easy, no problem.
All right, we've got the Patriots at the Bills. The Bills giving 4 points. The variable in this one, it's going to be 0 degrees. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. We saw this game before, and Buffalo will be much better prepared. Look for Josh Allen to run the football a lot. And look, if this game took place a month ago, which it did, the Pats were on a little bit of a heat check. Mac Jones was feeling good. Belichick had everybody dialed in. Over the last 3 weeks, I hadn't been as impressed with New England, so I'm going to take Buffalo here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, grudgy affair, but the Bills win by 7. It's going to be a tough cover, but we like Josh Allen and the Bills. Circle the wagons.
All right, you like the underdog Cardinals playing at the Rams. Cardinals getting about 4 points right now. I kind of like that pick, too. Nobody trusts the Rams.
you can't trust the Rams right now, and they might win the game, but they're not going to win by more than 4. This is going to come down to a field goal game at the end, Arizona's defense is too good. They're going to pick Stafford at some point during the ball game. Look, can Kyler Murray make a couple big throws down the field? J.J. Watt's going to be back. Look, I think this Arizona storyline is really good. I expect them to make a little late-season playoff push after kind of going into the doldrums for a bit. Look for them to upset the Rams in L.A. on Sunday.
All right, KC hosting Big Ben and the Steelers. KC, a double-digit favorite. You're not giving Big Ben and them much hope here.
Look, what a career. I've got to be around, play golf with Ben Roethlisberger. A Hall of Fame career, no doubt about it. This is going to be his retirement celebration in Kansas City.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's just not going to go very well. They don't have the firepower to keep up with the Chiefs. I hadn't played the Chiefs all year. So you know I really must like them, Bob. I guarantee you. But look, KC's going to put up 30-plus points on Pitt's defense. I expect Big Ben to maybe score a couple trash touchdowns late. They're not going to get to the 12.5 number. KC wins by 17, and they're going to be up by 20 going into the second half.
I could probably see that coming too. All right, Buccaneers hosting the Eagles. Tom Brady, more than a touchdown favorite there, and you like the Bucs.
I do. And last year we played against Brady in round 1 when they played at Washington, and Washington covered. They played him a great ball game at Tampa Bay, at home. Brady, he's not going to mess around with Philadelphia, and Jalen Hurts, unfortunately, just doesn't have the firepower to keep up. I expect Brady to score 30 to 35 points in this ball game. It's going to be around a 35-17 game. A runaway. Brady moves on. Great season by the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what they do moving into the offseason with Jalen Hurts.
All right, the last one, the Cowboys hosting the 49ers. This is the first playoff matchup between the Cowboys and the 49ers since the 95 NFC Championship game in Candlestick, and I was there. I was covering that game. I saw they played in 3 straight NFC Championship games during that run, and I was at 2 of them. I was in the one in Dallas in 94 and then the one in Candlestick in 90. That's how old I am. But I was covering those Cowboy teams back then. But so you got everybody's jumping on the 49er bandwagon. Cowboys favored by 3. What do you say?
Does everybody not remember the Rams had the 49ers down 20 points last week? Now, great comeback. The Niners roster is loaded. Now, is this a New York Giants old school run where they got into the playoffs and now get some momentum? I'm betting they do not. I think Dallas has too much offensive firepower, and I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be able to keep up with Dak. Now, this is the bet, Bob. It's -3. This is saying Dallas shows up. Now, if Dallas doesn't show up, the Niners are going to win this ball game.
Okay.
But if Dallas shows up and plays a good, clean, solid offensive game, they've just got a better roster. Dallas wins 27-21. They cover the 3 and move on.
All right, there you have it, man. I love the picks. He's undefeated last week. We're going to see how he does this week, man. Man, what a big weekend coming up of NFL action.
If you can't get excited about this weekend, you just can't get excited.
I just hope after I run that half marathon, I can stay awake to watch those games on Sunday afternoon.
You'll be all right.
I'll be Red Bulling it, I'll tell you. All right. Hey, that's it for this edition of Huddle Up. Thanks to Mark Vandemere, voice of the Texans, for joining us. I'm Bob Slovak. He's Jason Alexander. We'll see you next time.